Good day everyone, Mr. Cargill here with our next Autocad video. Now in this video we're going to be looking at an auxiliary drawing. But before we get into that video, I want to thank Reach Educational Services for sponsoring today's video. They are a tutoring company that I've been working with for a good while now, and they are now my first sponsors for a YouTube video. So I want to thank them for that. Now, if you're interested in tutoring for any subject, whether it is at the elementary level or at the high school or middle school level, you can head over to Reach Educational Services and you can check out the different courses that they offer and also the different packages and so on. So they offer lots of different courses. Even at the university level, they offer help with like research paper, editorial services, BMed, which I teach, and also technical drawing as well, pure math, language. So any subject that you need tutoring for, you can head over to Reach Educational Services and check them out. They also have a bunch of different packages, so you can try different packages that are tailor-made to what you want. So it could be that you want help with SBA, you need some SBA guidance along with tutoring and stuff like that. So you can head over, check out the different packages for the different subjects and so on. All right, so once again, thanks to Reach Educational Services for sponsoring today's video. Now to get into the video, we're going to be doing this drawing right here. Now this drawing is an auxiliary drawing of a hexagonal based pyramid. All right, so we have the front view here, and we have the plan view, and then we have the auxiliary view. Now auxiliary is a type of pictorial drawing. It's similar to orthographic, except for orthographic, you'll be looking at the object from either directly above, directly in front, or directly from the left or the right. But sometimes you're not looking directly from above or from in front or directly from the left or right. You're looking at an angle. And when you're looking at from an angle, the view that you will get will be an auxiliary view. All right. So in this case here, we're looking from this angle. We're looking down at this at a 60-degree angle. All right, we're looking down on this at a 60-degree angle. So based on where we're looking from, the object is going to look like this right here. All right, so I'm going to link a video below. I'm going to link a video below that was done by our next YouTuber, Manas Patnik. He has some very good videos, and he explained like the fundamentals of auxiliary drawing. And I believe that this video will build on that, where it will show you how to do the auxiliary drawings in AutoCAD. All right, so we are going to now start with this. So we can start with the plan view, and then we'll do the front view, and then we'll get on to the auxiliary view. So for the plan view, we have some information here. It's a regular hexagon, 30 millimeters. It says 30 millimeters A/F. A/F means across the flats. So these are the flats. So from here to here, that's the distance across the flats. When you're given a hexagon to draw, you could be given the distance across the flats, or you could be given the distance across the center. So the distance across the center in this case would be from A to D, and from across the flats would be like from here to here, or from here to that point, and so on. So the distance across the flats is 30, and the height of the pyramid from here to here is 40. Okay, so that's enough information to get to start our drawing and get to our auxiliary view. So here now, we want to head over to AutoCAD. Let me go over here actually. All right, so yeah, so let's do this now. So we're going to select a polygon, and it says enter the number of sides. The number of sides is going to be 6 because it's a hexagon. It says specify center of polygon, so that's my center here. It's asking me if I want it inscribed in circle or circumscribed about circle. Now when you're given a hexagon, if you're given the distance across the flats, you will choose circumscribed about circle. If you're given the distance across the centers, you will choose inscribed in circle. All right, so we're given the distance across the flats, so we're going to choose circumscribed about circle. Circumscribed about circle means that a circle would fit perfectly in that hexagon. And inscribed in a circle would mean that the hexagon would fit perfectly in a circle. So you're going to choose circumscribed about circle. Oh, let me just get rid of the broken lines and select solid lines. Okay, there we go. And then I type polygon, number of side 6, specify a point, and then circumscribed about circle. So now it says the distance across the flats is 30. So from the center to the next end here would be 15, because that would be halfway across the flats. So I'm going to make this 15. So I'll type 15. And there I have my hexagon. Let me just move it a bit out of this drawing here. Nice. So there we have our hexagon. So now the next thing that we need to do is to connect the different points. And we can first check. We can first check that the distance across the flats is indeed 30. So like from this midpoint here to this midpoint here, that should be 30, and it is. All right, so we know that that's good. And it said circumscribe about circle, which means that a circle would fit perfectly inside the hexagon. So like if I did that, that circle would fit perfectly inside the hexagon. All right, now here we need to finish this. So this is the top of our pyramid. So we can do this. I'll just draw lines to connect the corners like that. And they're all going to intersect right at the top. So from that corner to that corner, and from this corner to this corner over here. So there we have our hexagon, but we're not finished. We need to label the different parts. We need to do some labeling. So right here, this would be point A. So I'm going to type A. Let me just change the color of my text. I'm going to make my text yellow. Let me just double click here and change this to yellow. And there we have it. So now I can copy this A, bring it to this point here. Let me just turn off ortho. It's important for us to label our points because we're going to end up with a lot of lines. And we want to ensure that we know exactly what each line represents. All right, we have to label the center as well. Let me just bring this a bit closer here. So this is A, B, C, D, E, F, and then the center is O. So we need to label, change these. So we'll change this from A. So this is B. And labeling does take time, but in the end, you'll be glad that you did your labels because you will know exactly where your points are. And when you have a lot of lines, it's very important to understand, where your points are. So this would be D over here. So just double click and then I can change this to D, which makes this E. And then finally we have F, and then the center is going to be called O. All right, yeah. So this is F, and then the center is O. Now this drawing is a bit long, but the reason it seems that long is because I'm going through and I'm labeling and everything and I'm explaining. But if you're doing it on your own and you master the technique of drawing the auxiliary views, it won't take that long. So now I'm going to draw an XY line. Now an XY line is a line that separates the different view planes. So this is the plan view, and I'm going to draw the front view over here. So the XY line is going to be between the plan view and the front view. The distance from the XY line to the plan view and the distance from the XY line to the front view doesn't really matter when you're doing auxiliary like this. So I'm just going to draw a horizontal line. Let me turn on back ortho. So I'll draw this horizontal line, no specific length. The only thing that you need to do is ensure that it goes past A, past point A here, and past point D here. All right. So then now I'm going to bring up a series of lines like this. I'm going to use like this from construction lines. And I'll bring up lines from all the points. So I'll bring up lines from A. Right now, this is no specific length. I'll bring it to about here. No specific length. Actually, let me bring it up a bit higher, and I'll explain why I bring it up a bit higher. Let's bring it to about there. Now, the line from B would also go through F. So this would be line BF. And then we also have line CE. And then we also have a line from D as well, from here. Nice. I could have just copied one, I guess, instead of doing that. Yes, I could have just draw one. I could have just drawn one of the lines and then just copy it to the different points to save time. And in a drawing like this, you do need to save time. All right, so we have that. So now we can start drawing our front view. So the front view looks like this. All right, this is our front view. So we're going to choose a point to start, and then the distance from the base to the top is 40. That's given to us. The height is 40 millimeters. So we can draw that now. So I'm just going to choose a place to start. So I'll draw a line like this. And then once I do that, I can trim off all the points that I don't need. So I don't need anything above this line, so I'll trim that. So now this is the line from the middle. So I'm going to select a center line over here. So I'll go other, and then I'll select load. And then I'm going to select center because I want a center line. So there, that is my center line. So once I have my center line now, I'm going to do this. Let me select center line actually. I'm going to draw a line from here, which is the center, and the height of this is 40. So from here to here is 40. And then I'll select a continuous line, and I'm just going to connect the different points here. So I'll connect the top to here, from the top to there, from the top to this point, and from the top to this point as well. So there we have those points. So the next thing we need to do is to label those points. And again, it's a lot of labeling, but believe me when I tell you that it is very much worth it. I'm going to bring up my drawing a bit. I'm going to bring this up a bit, and I'll tell you why I bring it up. So let me move this from here. Now I have ortho turned on, so I'm just going to bring this up a bit. And for these lines, I'm going to extend them to here. Okay, let me just do this then. So I'm just gonna extend these lines all the way up here. I could just use the extend command for all of them, and that would make my life a lot easier. But let me just do this since I've already started. All right. So the reason I'm extending these lines is because we're going to have some lines coming down, and I don't want those lines going through my plan view. So that's why I extend this a bit further away from the plan view. All right, so I will have some lines going down here, and I don't want them going through the plan view, so I extended. That's why I brought this up a bit more. So we need to label. So let me copy this F here and turn off ortho and object snap, because I don't want the letter to be snapping to the lines. All right, so I'm gonna have to label this. This is my XY line, and then I have to label these first. This is A, this is B and F, so I have to give it 2 letters. Sorry, let me do this. I'm going to have to delete that one. This is C and E, so that's 2. So right here, and then this is D, and above D is O up here. So we need to change these labels. Well, let me just delete these 2 here. So now this is A, which makes this B and F. So that means that this is point B, and that's point F, and this is point C, and this is point E right here. And then over here now we have point D. All right, so that's point D. Now that we have all these points, it says that we're looking down at this at a 60-degree angle. All right, so that's a 60-degree angle. So this that we're looking at here, 60-degree angle. And we know that this angle is 60 because the line that bisects these lines here, this is perpendicular to these lines. And if this perpendicular bisecting line is 60 degrees, that means that these lines also have to be 60 degrees. So what that therefore means is this. I'm going to turn on polar tracking. Click on the drop down arrow, set this to 30, 60 and so on. If I want to just set it to just 60, I can go to tracking settings and then I can set the increment angle instead of 30 like that. I could set it to 60. Alright, so here I'm going to select this for construction lines and I'm going to draw this down at a 60-degree angle. So let me turn on back object snap. So now once it's at a 60-degree, you'll see the green line, and there it says 60. Not this one. This one up here is 30. We don't want 30, we want 60. So we want that. So I could just draw one. I could just draw that one. And then once I draw that one, no specific length, I can copy this to the different points to save some time. So copy to here. Copy it from the center. No, not from the center. There. Copy it from here. And then from the center up here. Oh, I forgot to change this value from F to O. Yeah, so this is the center. So this is not F, this is O. And there we go. So we have that, and we have these. So now we have a perpendicular bisecting line. And that line is going to be our X1, Y1 line to give us a different view plane. So you have the plan view and this view plane. The XY line separates the plan view from the front view, and then the X1, Y1 line will separate the front view from the auxiliary view. So we'll have our X1, Y1 line. We can draw it anywhere. I could draw it here or up here, anywhere. So I can draw it like right here, and it will be at that angle. Yeah. So it bisects it perfectly like that. Now let me just check this angle here. Let me just check this angle here. I think this angle is 30, isn't it? The angle is 30. All right, the angle is 30. So let me just recheck this, and it says that this angle is supposed to be 60. All right, so that angle is supposed to be 60. So that means that therefore these lines should actually be 30 degrees and not 60 degrees. So let me just change that. So these lines should actually be 30 degrees. It's just troubleshooting. When you're drawing, you'll come across different problems, but when you have that instinct, you can look at a drawing and tell that something is off. So I'll bring these out at 30 degrees actually. Yeah. And it would make sense. I think I had said that if the bisecting line is 60, then these lines would be 60, but it wouldn't make sense because we need to, for it to be perpendicular perfectly, we need it to be 90 degrees, and 60 plus 30 gives us 90. So yeah, it would make sense for these to be at 30 degrees. So I'm just bringing these down at 30 degrees. And then I'll bring this down also at 30 degrees. So then I'll bisect these here with my X1, Y1 line like this. So that's my bisecting line. And this angle now should be 60 degrees. So let me measure this angle. Utilities, measure this angle is actually 60 degrees. So there we have it. So I can delete this line. All right, and I can let me just trim a piece of the X1, Y1 line. Now again, with these videos, I can like edit out the mistakes and stuff like that, but the reason I leave them in is because I want the people who view the videos to see the actual, you know, the process and the thought process and understanding when something looks a bit off, and just checking to ensure and measure to see if something is wrong before you continue the drawing, you know. And I think that's good to see that, you know, that's how you go about problem solving when you come across an issue in AutoCAD. Alright, so we have this, and this is our X1, Y1 line. So we need to label this X1, Y1. We also need to label this XY. I didn't label this either. So this is X, and then this here is Y. So now this is X1, Y1. So let me click on this here, and I'll go to copy here, So let me copy this from here, bring it over here. So this is x1, and this over here now is y1. So that's y1, and this down here is x1. So there we have it. Now, to get our auxiliary view, this is what we have to do. We have to measure the distance from the XY line to the plan view, and then take those measurements to these points over here. So we'll see how we go about doing that. So the closest line, or the closest point to the XY line, is F and E. So let me go utilities, measure distance, and the distance from the XY line to E here. Let me go to my units. So I'm just going to type units. I don't want any decimals. Probably one decimal place is okay, but I don't want any decimals in this case. So I'll just set those to 0, set decimals to 0. So I'll measure the distance from the XY line to E and F here. And the distance from the XY line to E and F is 17. So here now I'm going to offset by 17. So I'm going to type 17. And I'll offset my x1, y1 line by 17. So I'll get this line here. Alright. So I know that this line is the line that will have points F and point E. There's a number of ways I can go about doing this. I can select point and draw different points. I can just leave the lines as they are and make the lines different colors to represent different things, and so on and so forth. But I think the way I'm going to do it here is to just type point. So now this is the line coming from F. Alright, the second line is the line that comes from F. So this would mean that point F down here would be right here. So I'll select my point and I'll click there. And my point is not showing, so I'll just type P type or DDP type. Click on P type. I'll set the angle to, I'll set the size to about 2. And you can use any one of these, and I'm going to just use this one. And I'll set size in absolute units. Click OK, and then my point comes up. So that's point F. So now to find point E, I can just copy this one here. Copy this point. And then now point E is on the second line right here. So this is my point E over here. So that's my point E. Nice. Wonderful. So now the next point that I need, so I have points F and E. I'm just going to label them. I know that labeling takes time and stuff like that. But yeah, it's important to label the different points, because once you have your points labeled, it makes life a whole lot easier. So that's F and this is point E. So let me just change this value to E. And now I no longer need the line, so I can delete the line because I have the points to represent the value. So we have that. So now we have the line that represents A, O, and D, because A, O, and D, they are all on the same line. So I'll go measure, and I'll measure the distance from the XY line, to this center line here, and that distance is 32. So I'm going to offset x1, y1. I'll offset that distance by 32. Click on this line and bring it down over here. So now my x1, A, O, and D would be on this line. So I can copy this point, or I can just type point. So I can copy this point. So now where is A? A comes from this line out here. So this is actually A right there. Good. And then O and D are on this line as well. So D is right here. And then O is up there. So that means that O is on this line right here. So I have those points. A, O, and D. So now I can mark these different points. So this is A, this is D, and this is O up here. Nice. So I'll change the value from this of this from A to O, and I'll change the value of this from A to D. So this is actually D, and then now so that there we have it, A, D, and O. Nice. So now we can delete this line because we have the points. So now the next points will be B and C. So we can measure this distance from the XY line, all right, from the XY line down to BC is 47. So we can offset by 47. So we're offset by 47. So now these points here, B and C, so line B is the second one here, and C and E is on this line here. So we can copy these points. So I'll click on this, select copy. Copy from here, bring here, and also here. Yes. So this is point B. Oh, this is not at the right point, so let me just move this a bit over to the right point, to there. Nice. Let me just check that everything else is at the right points. Yes they are, yes they are, yes they are. Nice. So we can label this now, and this will be points B and points B and C. So here this is BC, so this is B. Let me select this and change the value. Okay, text is just being a bit weird. So this is B. And then over here, this is C. So I can just copy this. And this is point C. Let me just bring it a bit outside like that. Well, I don't want it in the drawing. I want it outside of the drawing. I don't want it directly at the point. That's why I turn off object snap when I'm doing labeling. And this is C. So there are my points: A, B, C, D, E, F, and then up at the top we have O. So now we can connect the points. Looking from where we're looking, I know we're going to see E, O, we're going to see F, O, A, O, B, O, and C, O. We're not going to see D, O, we're not going to see D, E, and we're not going to see C, D. And you can see it in the drawing here. We see all these lines, but we're not seeing E and D, so we're not in broken lines. We're not seeing D and C, so that's in broken lines. We also wouldn't see D, O, but A, O is on the same path as O, D, O would be. So you won't see the broken line D, O, but you'll see the broken lines E, D, and D, C. So for that, it's like this. Let me just select a line here. And that line now goes like this, goes from O to C. And then C joins to B, B joins to O, O joins to A, and we can join A to B here, and then we can join A to F, A to E, and then we can join E to O. Then we can also join F to O. I know we need to connect some points, so I'll go to change this from continuous line to broken lines. All right, and mine, I already had broken line selected, but if you didn't, just go to load, click on ISO dash here and click OK, and then it will load up. But I already have mine loaded, so I'm just going to click on ISO dash. Then I'm going to draw this line from E to D. Actually, this is still a continuous line, so let me change it to that. And I'll draw this line from E to D, and then from D to C. There would also be a broken line from D to O, like from D to O here, but it wouldn't show broken because AO is on that same path. You wouldn't see the broken line DO. All right. So based on where we're looking from, this is what we would see. So this is our finished thing, and we don't need this here. Yeah, so that's our finished cone. All right, finished pyramid. Sorry, it's not a cone, it's a pyramid, hexagonal based pyramid. So thanks for watching this video. I hope you found it helpful. If you did, you can subscribe so that you can be notified when I release future videos. Turn on your bell, and you can comment below and let me know what videos you would like me to do. So thanks for watching, everybody, and have yourselves a fantastic day.